So the heat of the Fawley Challenge Cup, men's junior quad sculls, your event, Tom.
Indeed.
And we have York City Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and the King's School Worcester on the Buckinghamshire station.
Yeah, every year when I watch the Fawley, the standard goes up, and I'm not just saying that. Every single year I watch Wednesday crews in the Fawley, and I think they're better than they were last year, which just tells its own tale of the quality of schoolboy sculling here in the UK. It gets better and better every year. And actually the winners of the Fawley would often be competitive in the Prince of Wales, which is the intermediate quad. But you can see here, York look like they have the lead at this point.
So York have taken an early lead in this race and maintained it. But the problem is the King's School Worcester are still in contact. And that's the most important thing when you race in a Henley, side by side, one-on-one. Is being in contact with your opposing crew. Or just going for a wash there. Who's going to respond to that? Both crews look to stay composed, which is great. No mistakes there.
Yeah, certainly a unique challenge that Henley presents. It's rare that you get, and that's a lot of wash to be fair. It's rare you get that type of interruption at the national schools.
But I suppose that's the elements that you have to deal with, and you know, it's part of the uniqueness of racing at Henley. It's not on a 6-lane course, you know, buoyed course. It's on a river, you know. There's no buoys between you and your opposition. You're racing between these wooden booms that if you hit, it's fatal, your race is done. So, you know, there's so many unique elements to this. And you can see here the King's School Worcester is basically inching back on the York City Rowing Club crew, staying composed in their rhythm. So we've got another great race going on here.
Yeah, the drone shot is just so illuminating. It's so helpful for us commentators to be able to call the race right, because it just gives you that aerial view, and you can almost see, as you say, Worcester slowly making progress, slowly making dents into York's lead. It looked like York had this race under control, but Worcester now back in touch, back in contact, and will fancy themselves in the second half of this one.
Yeah, Worcester are definitely putting York City Rowing Club under pressure here. It's all about, you know, as a crew, how you respond to that pressure as a crew starts to inch back on you. So we'll learn a lot about York City here.
Yeah, it takes a pretty incredible level of maturity for a crew, especially a junior crew, to be comfortable with someone rowing up and into them, and then to be able to respond at the right moment. Because you've almost, if you're mature enough, you can sit and wait and wait and wait, and then when the crew that you're racing draw almost level with you, then you pull away. But that's a really hard thing to execute, particularly in the heat of battle.
The King's School Worcester are still trying to inch back. See, it's half a length now between them and York City Rowing Club. So just trying to stay composed in your boat. See the bow person, which is Jack Barkley, trying to encourage his crew. Make sure they stay in contention. Jack just has a quick glimpse across to find out where they are against York. And it's that relaying information. You only want one person doing the observing of where you are, but making sure that the others are completely aware of you're moving back man at a time.
Exactly, exactly. You ideally want 3 of these athletes to be totally focused on what's going on in your boat. Of course, that doesn't always happen, but that's what you want in an ideal world. And then you want that one almost representative of the race, the strategist, to be able to call the shots, to be able to say, okay, this is happening, this is where we need to think, this is where we need to move. And that's going to be the job of whoever's steering the boat, typically. And that might be...
And Tom obviously being in the bow of the... Thomas in the York City crew. Thomas Mills, obviously trying to do the same as Jack in his opposing boat here. So it's that kind of bow person battle, you know, trying to encourage your crew, monitor the situation, steer as well. There's a lot for someone to deal with.
You can see both bowmen putting their heads out the boat, having a look at the other crew, sizing them up, you know, working out, is this the time to go? I mean, it is close, this. It's another really, really cracking race.
And it's once again, who's going to be able to step through the gears? That's important. How do you move together efficiently as a unit? And gradually, as you step the cadence up or the rate up, take the boat speed with it.
You have to say York have done a good job, because it looked like Worcester were going to row them down in the middle part of this race, and actually they've held them at bay. And coming into what is the final 200 metres, there's pretty much nothing to choose between them. Wow, look at that. It's
basically that distance has stayed the same, the second part of the course. You're looking at each other again, trying to stay in your boat, do your thing. Ooh, a tough opening round there in the Fawley Challenge Cup. That was a win for York City Rowing Club over the King's School Worcester.